Do you want to see a crazier piece of marketing for this movie besides this poster? The fact that a movie theater accidentally played this title during a screening of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
What the fuck is this jump cut? What is this? What's Spider-Man on? Just have a 4 movie for 20. Yo! You know that's not even real. You know that. Yo, send your manager here. We need that refund.
Getting the word of this movie out there is crazy work. What is up, everybody? Random Man here, bringing you my review for I Want Your Sex in One Take. Now, the plot of this erotic comedy thriller follows Elliot, who becomes the assistant to an artist, Erica, and her sexual muse. Going into this movie, I was looking forward to seeing it as a bit of curiosity got to me with its whole edgy concept, and it has a stacked cast in front of the camera. And besides what I showed off at the beginning of this video, that was too funny not to mention with it, I still had interest in seeing this movie with all of it coming together. Starting out with the cast and their performances, we have Cooper Hoffman as Elliot. Now, of course, he is the son of the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I've seen him in quite a few movies by this point, and I think that he is a strong actor. He first got a lot of people's attention for Licorice Pizza from 2021, one of my favorite movies from that year. And then he went on to star in Saturday Night and The Long Walk from last year. Here he delivers another solid performance, playing this 23-year-old guy who lands his first job out of college. And it's being the assistant to an artist who deals with erotic art, and that's quite something that not everyone can say that they are able to do or just land as a job. And he's also pretty sexually frustrated, if you would, being curious and discovering all that is worth with the whole kind of concept. And he's also just somebody that one can relate to in this kind of situation, despite it being a little bit more heightened and a little more out there, given what this movie also has in terms of its art style. Then we have Olivia Wilde, who plays Erica, the boss of Elliot, and also basically the dom, if you would, to his sub. They enter a BDSM type relationship, and of course, there's a lot that would be associated with this kind of role. She looks like she is relishing in this kind of material, and just earlier this summer, she had the invite that she directed and starred in. I think that is now her best movie that she has directed, and is making a bit of a resurgence in terms of acting too, as this is quite an outstanding performance as well too, playing to her literal strengths, but also the chemistry between herself and Hoffman and what they are all about. Her being manipulative, playing mind games, not knowing exactly what she is standing for or what exactly is her deal. Just the whole relationship is complex with this kind of dynamic with a boss and an employee. So that makes the movie have a running pulse and keep going in terms of what it is all about. And the rest of the supporting cast that I think are superb as well. We have the likes of Daveed Diggs and Mason Gooding, who are also two other members of this workplace. Chase Sui Wonders plays the best friend and roommate of Elliot. Charlie XCX plays the girlfriend to Elliot, a very uninterested and just kind of whatever girlfriend, and that also is part of the reason why Elliot is gravitating towards Erica in terms of this relationship. And there's also Margaret Cho and Johnny Knoxville, who play two detectives who are questioning Elliot throughout this movie, or we cut back and forth between both of them. I think it's just funny for Knoxville specifically to play a more straight-laced role like this and not trying to be funny, unlike what he is basically known for with Jackass. I mean, we just saw Jackass Best and Last earlier this summer as well too. But in any sense, I think that the cast here was outstanding, and of course the two lead roles here really give us a lot to chew on, as if they are not already chewing each other's faces off, to put it lightly. Now, this film is co-written and directed by Greg Araki. I know he is a very notable filmmaker for stuff that he has done decades ago, but I have never seen a single film of his. So this being my first film from the filmmaker that I've seen, it's quite interesting because the movie throws you in a very in-your-face style in terms of both the art style, the colors, and just what this movie is all about. The movie opens with some crazy stuff having already happened, and then it flashes back several weeks before when Elliot first lands the job with Erica, and in between he's getting questioned by the two detectives that I've mentioned, with all of this framing together as to the relationship between himself and Elliot building up, or I should say between Elliot and Erica building up, excuse me, and all this together, I think the movie also has a lot to say in terms of this whole realm, if you would. I mean, relationships are not necessarily the easiest thing to decipher, and even with this movie having a heightened sense about it, and it being a bit over the top and just going with its own stylings to suffice or just really supplement what is going on with the whole narrative, it gives you something to really think about, while also having a lot of laughs as well, too. This movie is pretty funny at points. I wouldn't say it is the funniest movie of the year. That would still, to me, go to The Invite by Wild, as I was guffawing throughout all of that. But there are quite a few moments here that are laugh-inducing, not just because of how ridiculous they are, and how they're trying to push the envelope as well, too. I mean, the movie is not, I would say, 100% lurid, or it's that blue in terms of content, although there's a lot of pink throughout this movie, if you would. I mean, the shorts that I'm wearing right now are pink, but they're not as hot pink as the ones that you see in the film, or the kind of pink that you see in the film. Not that there were pink shorts in the film, I'm not sure, I don't know. But in any sense, yeah, the way the film is going, and just having that kind of sense about it, I think the movie has a lot to go with its short running time. It runs at about an hour and a half, and it's very quick to get into the swing of things within the first 10 minutes, I would say, and it runs along really well, really not having too much excess in terms of what we are going with the main relationship on, and how this is affecting everyone else involved in our protagonist's life. And yeah, Araki does a pretty accomplished job directing and helming this all together. And like I said, with the look of this movie, the way it is shot, a lot of bright, I should say, hot pastel colors. Of course, the different pieces of art that we see in the workplace here are quite out there, and they give you a sense of the whole ideology that Erica has as a person. And also, yeah, some things like the music, the way it is cut. Again, the movie runs very quickly. It's less than an hour and a half without the end credits, and as it keeps going, once it gets into its third act and stuff goes crazy and we circle back to what we were initially brought to at the beginning of this movie, I would say that really the only issue I have with this movie that stands out is that by the time this movie wraps up altogether, it kind of goes for an easy way out, not necessarily a cop-out completely, but I do think that stuff is wrapped up a little too cleanly. I think there could have been some more sense of consequence, if you would, if all of this was just being put out there, and how this kind of thing really takes a toll on somebody. I mean, it's affecting Elliot the entire way when you're seeing everything said and done here. But I still think the movie ends in its final shot in a way that still gives the essence of the whole theming and the whole vibe of what the movie is going for anyway, because of the situations that these characters have gotten themselves into, or that Elliot more specifically got himself into, and is also trying to make sense of everything else and just having everything be all affected. But in any sense, I really enjoyed I Want Your Sex. It is a film that was, to not intend a pun, a hot ticket at this year's Sundance Film Festival months ago by now. And now that it's been released in theaters, not to a wide capacity, but there's probably a theater not too far away, at least here in the United States where I live, that you can find it specifically. And I would say that if you're able to, I definitely recommend seeing this film for how different it is. It'll give you some laughs, and the performances ultimately are what make this thing worth watching. With all of that being said, my final verdict for I Want Your Sex is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of I Want Your Sex. Social media links in the description. Subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.